Sian, very good to see you. We're majoring on housing today, and unlike the two front runners, you aren't putting a numerical target on what you want to achieve, but you are putting emphasis on community house building. Yes, you'd say you would increase council tax to pay for more housing, and then there's an eye-catching pledge to close London City Airport, at least partly for housing and small businesses. But let's begin with that numbers thing. Don't we need to concentrate on numbers because we've got a growing population?
Well, we do need to achieve very high levels of house building, and yeah, the target that has been set by business groups, by the housing groups, is 50,000 homes a year. But I think the process of how you get there is very, very important, and the process we're talking about is taking the public land that we have, hopefully City Airport, but also the massive amount of Transport for London land that there is, breaking it up into smaller plots and bringing in investment from a much wider range of sources.
We can see the extent of the problem here by having a look at this graph. I mean, you'll know from 1990, just at the level of house building, you know, what's happened to it. Now, we've never got over more than about 23,000. The purple is the affordable element. The orange is how much, building of private housing there is. Is that about right then, or do you think the 50,000 target is just unachievable?
No, I mean, we have a real opportunity coming up with a lot of public land that's being released for development. So I think we can, as the next mayor in City Hall, we can kickstart a new round of house building, bring in more investment, help people to build their own homes, help people set up cooperatives, use lots of smaller house builders.
Absolutely dispensing with scale. I mean, anyone's going to tell you this. All the, it's the big developers that provide the numbers. So you're not offering much of a housing solution.
Working with the big developers, you get these enormous master plans, you get these very big kind of grand plans, but actually breaking the land up into smaller plots can get things more quickly, because the sorts of models we're talking about, self-builders, cooperatives, they want to build simply to live in the home.
You've talked about parcels, you've talked about TfL land. You'll know and you'll support Crossrail 2 as a new rail link. 20,000 homes that could be built would be on small parcels of green belt land. In those circumstances, the Green candidate surely would say, OK, yes, we could build on those bits.
I think we've got a very long way to go before we should build on any greenbelt land, actually. I want to keep that protected for as long as possible.
Let's remind you what Shelter said in a report a couple of weeks ago. The first important thing the new mayor must do is to keep all the options open and resist the urge to rule things out. I mean, you're ruling out the greenbelt. I mean, practically, it's a failure to begin with.
I think the danger with the green belt is if we rule it in too soon, that's the preference that the house builders will take, and we'll end up developing on the green belt before we build on the brownfield land, and that's a very important principle, that it should be brownfield and town centre first.
A quick one to finish. Sadiq or Zach?
That's a question for London Green Party. We'll be making a decision whether to make a decision next week. As I say, there's a long way to go yet, and until we've had a vote next week, I can't even talk to the other parties.
Thanks very much indeed.
Sian